Hey, what's up, guys? Purpose Driven Life Sports, and I'm back here for another video. So I'm going to be talking about last night's matchup. So we had three. We had the Boston Celtics versus the Indiana Pacers. We had the Raptors versus the Magic, and then we had the Portland Trailblazers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder for the last game. First game was the Raptors versus Magic. So that game was a 5-point game. It was very close. At the end, it was actually a toss-up because before there were two free throws that sealed the game. The Magic could have tied the game with a three. Now Nikola Vujovic came out and had 22 points and 14 rebounds. He had also 6 assists, so he actually had a coming-out game and played exceptionally well. But to me, he was really the only guy besides Terrence Ross off the bench who went 8 for 17, went 5 for 13 from three-point range. Those were the only two guys who actually had a good game. But defensively, the Magic played exceptionally well, and one reason why they were actually close in this game was they only held Kawhi Leonard to 16 points and only 10 rebounds. He went 5 of 19 from the field. I don't think he hit any threes in this game either. So what happened? So the guy who actually stepped up was Pascal Siakam, who I said in this series is going to be big, and he's been big all season for the Toronto Raptors. He's a guy who's been able to score off the bounce, getting his own shot. 30 points and 11 rebounds. He went 13 of 20 from the field. He's been a guy all year who has just been able to score and has been really, to me, the second guy who's been able to get his own shot besides Kawhi Leonard. Just the guy who also plays defense. He rebounds. He does all the other stuff that Kawhi Leonard does also. He's just the second option. And for the Raptors to advance, to me, the key is for him to keep doing what he's doing, which is keep getting your points when you're there, creating your own shot, and getting to the line. This Raptors team is so deep off the bench as well. A lot of guys off the bench in this series aren't scoring as well, but you have Kyle Lowry, who's actually had 12 points, 10 assists. Danny Green had 13 points. Marc Gasol also had 11. So this team is just, to me, collectively playing on a high level. And defensively, they're playing exceptionally well as well. They're one of the top 2 teams in terms of top 5 in offensive efficiency, top 5 in defensive efficiency. So all year they've just been great on both ends of the floor. DJ Augustine, to me, was a key for the Magic, to stay in the series and actually compete. He only had, I believe, 7 points on 3 of 7 shooting. So once again, he's not had a great game, and I think after game 1, he's actually been quieted by Kyle Lowry, by Danny Green. They've just done an exceptional job of limiting his shots and kind of making sure he's not as aggressive, getting into the lane, shooting threes. So he's been quieted. And one thing I want to say is that even though Terrence Ross is actually having a good series scoring-wise, the reason why I don't per se take him as seriously is because to me he doesn't do the other things as in rebounding, as in assists, as in those type of things as creating for others that other guys have been doing. So I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying right now you could actually shut a guy like him out of the series because all he really has been doing is just coming off of screens and hitting a lot of three-pointers. So if they're calling those things out and you got the guy who's guarding the screener actually contesting those shots as well, staying close while attached to the screener but being there whenever he's going out for a shot, to me you can kind of neutralize him in that way. But I was not surprised that the Raptors won this game. To me, their defense more than their offense is really going to be what's going to continue to take them to the conference finals, if not to the NBA finals. So now, Boston versus Indiana. Sorry about that. Boston won 104-96. Now, the guy who had a great game was Jaylen Brown, who missed only one shot. He had 23 points, 7 rebounds. So what I'm really seeing from Boston is there's different guys stepping up on each night. In the first game, there wasn't a guy who stepped up per se. It's just their defense really turned the game around, and they won 84-74. Last game, you had Jason Tatum and Kyrie Irving, who both had over 26. Jason Tatum had 26. Kyrie Irving had 37. And then in this game, it was more of a balanced effort where everybody in their starting lineup actually had 10 or more. Everybody scored in double figures. Everybody was rebounding. Kyrie Irving had 21 points, 10 assists. I think he had 23 and 10 assists. So when they're playing like this also, but their defense is playing exceptionally well, when you're only allowing under 100 points, to me, that's going to be a key into you advancing. In the playoffs, a lot of teams are going to hit threes because a lot of teams have a lot of three-point shooters. And when you're limiting a team to under 100 points, then you're doing a great job on the perimeter, just making sure that you're contesting, but also making sure that you're running guys off the three-point line. And that's something that I believe the Boston Celtics have a great personnel-wise of doing. And it's something that, to me, makes them still a viable threat in the Eastern Conference. And as for Indiana, they did hit 11 threes, but they only had 3 in the second half. So it's another thing where I keep talking about they don't have a go-to guy that they can really trust to kind of turn the tide in a game. Like I said, Victor Oladipo being that guy for them, and he's out. They don't have a guy who can either turn the tide or a guy who can change the momentum and just start a run for their team. They don't have that guy, and they're just a team of collective guys who are role players to a superstar. That's what kind of team they are right now. And to me, that's kind of why they're about to get swept. Even though they're playing hard, they're playing great defense, because they haven't allowed over 110 points, which to me, once you allow over 110, you're on the cusp of being blown out. They've played great defense. Their offense and not having that go-to guy is what's really killed them, and it's what's about to get them swept in the finals. In the playoffs, the first round. And Portland Trailblazers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. This game, once again, you had Russell Westbrook and Damian Lillard going at each other. Damian Lillard had 36 points. Russell Westbrook had 33 points. Russell Westbrook had his first really efficient game in the playoffs this year, where he went 11 of 22. He hit 4 3-pointers. So he also added 11 assists and 6 rebounds. Paul George is still struggling from the field. He only had 23 points. He went 3 of 16 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. Now, I don't really know. He's got these patches on his shoulder, so he's still having shoulder trouble. He said he's still trying to find a rhythm. Well, man, we're about to be in Game 3. We're about to enter Game 4. So this is ultimately, to me, going to cost them in the first round. And I think even though they got a game out of Portland at home, Portland still only lost by 12. And it really happened when Oklahoma City hit some three-pointers to close out the game. So I'm not worried about Portland at all. And I think they're going to have some fuel going into the next game after Paul George, for no reason at all, just decided to do a reverse dunk when the game was over, with 3 seconds left, when there was no point of even doing that. And then after the game, when he was questioned in the press conference, he's just going to act like there's nothing to it, and then he's just going to say next question. So Damian Lillard said he saw it and that there's nothing to it, but you don't want to give a guy like Damian Lillard more reasons to want to attack you and come at you. This team of Portland is going to scrap and be gritty, because they're a team that's not really talked about still, even though they're a very good team. And to me, they're a team that's going to push a team like Oklahoma City to the limit and push them out the game, because Oklahoma City wants to play defense and be physical, and Portland can do that too. Portland is an underrated defensive team to me, and they're actually showing it in this series so far, even though Oklahoma City scored 120 and they hit 15 threes. So Oklahoma City had a great game shooting. I'm going to give them props. Shot 48% from the field, 51% from three-point range. Portland is still right there. I think Portland is still going to take this series. It doesn't really matter to me what happens. I'm still picking Portland to win the series. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for listening. This was fun talking to you guys about this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.